Hello everyone, warm welcome to Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. My name is Madhav Sir. I welcome you all in the next session. We call it as Finance Current Affairs. If you are preparing for RBI Grade B examination or maybe IFSC examination or for that matter upcoming expected IRDAI examination, then this session is a must watch session where we don't only cover the finance segment related basic news, we also cover the advanced ones where we cover the RBI circulars, SEBI circulars, and even we include the important circulars or updates from IFSCA, IRDAI, as well as PFRDA. So before we start the discussion, may I have a reply in the comment section that I'm audible, visible, everything is fine. We are good to go so that we can begin the discussion. Technically, on Sunday, I don't have a session with you, but unfortunately, yesterday I was not able to conduct a session due to some technical issue. But as I have already, or as I say, I have already promised you, or I always say this thing that I will be responsible for the backlogs, and that is the reason I'm taking up the session on Sunday as well. So I'm expecting that you all will be joining in large number in this particular session. So before we start, I would request everyone quickly share the link of this session with your friends so that more and more students they are aware कि आज ये session live है so that they can join. So we will be covering the finance current affairs from 1st to 3rd of September, where we will be focusing on, or I would say in today's session I have one RBI circular, I have one SEBI circular, and along with that I have information related to National Statistical Office, and many other important news are going to be covered. So this is going to be a bit lengthy session because I will be covering the news from 1st to 3rd of September, and it is the beginning of the month. If you haven't continuing your finance current affairs on regular basis, then I would say today is the day from where you can start. At least if you are starting from today, आपको एक confidence रहेगा कि yes, from September onwards I have completed my current affairs, और जो backlogs है चाहे वो अगस्त है, जुलाई है, जून है, that can be cleared, that can be covered with the help of my monthly sessions which are also available on the platform. So I request you guys, if you haven't continued your finance current affairs from long, then September 1st to 3rd, that means today is the day that this session is the session from where you should begin again. Why I'm asking you to begin again? Because RBI notification is going to be out. We are expecting that tomorrow in the newspaper we will have a short notice, and then on 15th of September we will have a detailed notification for RBI Grade B. And rather than waiting for the detailed notification and wasting your time, I should say give your 100% in order to clear this examination. If you want to download the PDF of this session, it will be available on my Telegram channel. Handle is @Madhav Arora, and the name of the channel is Economics by Madhav Arora. Let's quickly start with the questions which are based on the previous session news. So the news which we have covered in the previous session, I will be discussing questions on the same so that you have a quick revision, whatever we have studied in the last session, and then we will be moving ahead. So this news was discussed in much detail in the previous session. If you remember, I have even discussed a descriptive question which has a great probability that can be asked related to UP, and even I have given you the sample content which you need to include in your answer, and that is a holistic content which will not only help you to write a specific question, it will help you to write all types of questions which can be asked related to UPS. So do watch that session if you haven't watched it. So first point is crossing 20 billion monthly transactions shows deep adoption and network effects. That is true. Growth was driven by small ticket high frequency transactions. True. UPI growth supports financial inclusion. True. Key risks include fraud, resilience, data privacy, over-reliance on NPCI. True. Higher per transaction fees. Nahi sir, per transaction fees high nahi, it is low. It is as low as 0. That is the reason we are getting a great push of these UPI transactions in the economy. So answer is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So is this class only Tuesday? Ayush, I think you have joined a bit late. I was not able to conduct a session which was scheduled on Saturday due to some technical reason, and in order to fulfill my commitment to cover your current affairs and help you to be updated as per the dates. So I'm taking this session even on Sunday. मैं इसे Tuesday भी ले सकता था, उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ना था, but I don't want to leave any stone unturned when your examination is around the corner. So this is the point. Yes, these sessions, they include the RBI circulars. Not only RBI, these include the SEBI circulars and even the important circulars of IRDA, PFRDA as well as IFSCA. India's current account deficit stood at $2.4 billion, which is 0.2% of GDP as per the data which has been presented by RBI for the first quarter 2025-26. First point, India's external stability is not under threat because current account deficit is very low with respect to GDP. That is true. A large services surplus and remittance helped cushion the merchandise trade deficit. Yes, sir. Your merchandise trade is deficit, but your services are surplus. You have large inward remittance. That is also true. Rising primary income outflows reflect India's growth stock of external liabilities. See, if income is flowing out, that means profits which the investors they are earning in India, that profit is flowing out, which shows India's growing stock of external liabilities. That is true. A low current account deficit reduces the immediate need for heavy capital inflows to finance external imbalances. That is true. A low current account deficit automatically means rupee will appreciate against US dollar. See, if you say generally, it's true. But if you say automatically, it's not true. Reason, देखो अगर current account deficit कम है, undoubtedly the demand for the foreign currency is pretty low. But if this current account deficit is low, but on the other side, government has not borrowed huge amounts to counter this current account deficit, that won't automatically result in appreciation of currency. So appreciation is not depending only on current account deficit. Obviously, it depends. Whenever current account deficit is low, currency will not depreciate further. That is true, but it will automatically result in appreciation. That is wrong. It automatically results in no or very less depreciation of the currency, Indian currency. If that would have been written, then I have accepted it. So I won't go with fifth option. I will be going with first, second, third and fourth. Next, FDI inflows moderated while FPI and ECB, that is external commercial borrowings, inflow has increased. Which of the following implications can be drawn? First one, higher external commercial borrowings inflows indicate Indian corporates, they find external borrowing conditions favorable. That means easy to borrow, low rate of interest. That could be an answer. True. FPI inflows, though they are positive, but they are not reliable for long-term source of financing. Yes, because FPI means you are investing in the equity instruments, you are investing in the debt instruments, and this investment is pretty volatile in nature. So you cannot rely for long-term source of funds. That is true. Lower NRI deposits could suggest that overseas Indians are finding better investment options abroad. हाँ, अगर मैं NRI हूँ and I'm not depositing my income in India, that means I have some other option to make my investments. Decline in FDI inflows reduces India's access to stable and long-term capital. That is true. Banking capital outflow reduces overall surplus in the financial accounts. अगर आपका पैसा बैंकिंग कैपिटल से पैसा बाहर जा रहा है तो आपका जो ओवरऑल सरप्लस है दैट विल रिड्यूस. दैट इज करेक्ट. सो आंसर इज गोइंग टू बी बी ऑप्शन, सॉरी सी ऑप्शन. दैट इज 1 2 3 4 5 all the options are correct. Got it, guys? Moving on to the next question. India's forex reserves has increased in the first quarter of 2025-26 mainly due to valuation gains. What is the meaning of this? Rising gold prices and dollar depreciation against other currencies boosted the nominal value of reserves. True. मतलब क्या हुआ? You have a 10 kg of gold and 1 kg price is, let's say, $100. If the price of gold increases from 100 to, let's say, $200, then the same 10 kg of gold which was earlier of value $1,000, its value has now increased to $2,000. So this increase in value of reserves is not due to the actual increase in reserves. It is just because of the increase in valuation of the reserves. That is true. So first option is correct. Second, higher reserves enhance India's ability to handle external shocks. Yes, it is always, I would say, the reserves of the country, forex reserves of the country is always considered as the first line of defense against the global uncertainties. So that is true. Since valuation gains do not arise from actual inflows, they do not add to India's financing capacity. That is also true. An increase in reserves automatically indicates a strong current account surplus. अगर आपका reserves they have increased, it means it is because of the current account surplus. Will that be fine? I would say that point is not correct. क्यों correct नहीं है? क्योंकि अगर आपका current account deficit है, but you have compensated that current account deficit through capital account, maybe through investment inflow or maybe through borrowing inflows, that will also result in increase in forex reserves. So that is not alone because of current account surplus. और इंडिया का इस बार current account is deficit. Still we have witnessed forex reserve increase, not only including the valuation wala part, even without including the valuation, India's forex reserves have increased. Policy marks may still prefer to focus on boosting exports and stable FDI inflows rather than relying on valuation gains. That is true कि भैया आपको realized फॉर्म पे काम करना चाहिए, which is going to increase your inflows of funds rather than only valuation. So that is true. I'll go with 1, 2, 3, 5, which means B option is absolutely the correct answer. Niharika, you have given almost all the answers correct. Congratulations. What about others? Wake up, guys. In this manner, you won't be able to crack your examination. Nahi aata? No worries. Give a try. You will succeed, not today, maybe in the next session. Credit growth slowed. Acha. There has been 2 quarterly reports presented for credit and deposits of the banks. So credit growth slowed due to the sluggish industrial demand. Yes. While the personal loan continued to expand strongly. That is true. And in the personal loan, more than 50% of the loan value is for the housing purpose. That means home loans. Financial inclusion improved as credit to women and non-credit branches, non-metro branches recorded faster growth. That is also a correct statement. That is appropriate. Moving on to the next one. Public sector banks led credit growth of 11%, while the private sector banks, they have mobilized deposits faster. That is true. Deposit remains geographically concentrated with 5 states or union territories, which include Maharashtra as well as Delhi, accounting for 54% of the total deposit. That is true. Senior citizens held less than, no sir, senior citizens held greater than 20% of total deposits. So if I talk about senior citizens, they are holding more than 20% of the total deposit. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are correct, but the 5th statement is wrong. So please make it correct in your minds that the senior citizen wala part is very important. और अगर आपको याद होगा last class की PDF में I have highlighted that senior citizens share in the total deposits of the economy. मजा आया? क्लियर हुआ? क्विक रिवीजन हो गई? चल अब आज की न्यूज स्टार्ट करते हैं. It's again going to be very, very, very beneficial to everyone. Here we go with the first news. The first news talks about RBI has announced the reappointment of R. Gandhi as the non-executive chairman of Yes Bank. Now you must be wondering कि सर क्या ये न्यूज RBI Grade B पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से इंपॉर्टेंट है? आई वुड से इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. अगर किसी भी बैंक का नॉन एग्जीक्यूटिव चेयरमैन या चेयरमैन भी अपॉइंट हो रहा है, आरबीआई में वहां से क्वेश्चन आने के चांसेस कम है. बट मैंने इस न्यूज को क्यों इंक्लूड किया? 2 रीजंस. First one is reappointment. Second one is Yes Bank. Yes Bank is something which is always in news. It is one of the, I would say, favorite bank these days in terms of news making authorities because of n number of reasons. तो अगर Yes Bank का ignore नहीं कर सकते, plus reappointment है, again ignore नहीं कर सकते. That is the reason I have included it. Please mark this point very clearly. So RBI has approved the reappointment of R. Gandhi as the chairman of Yes Bank. He will be serving for next 2 years from almost 2 years from September 2025 to 2027. His remuneration package was also sanctioned by RBI. Now, if I talk about this particular position, what is this non-executive chairperson? Non-executive chairperson has a governance role. It is independent of daily management. It provides strategic oversight, ensures broad level supervision, and promotes corporate governance. Unlike CEO or executive chairman, he does not run the day-to-day operations. So this is very important. इसलिए मैंने कहा कि ये न्यूज नॉन एग्जीक्यूटिव वर्ड आ गया था, इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं थी, सिर्फ रीअपॉइंटमेंट और यस बैंक की वजह से न्यूज इंपॉर्टेंट हुई. Why important in Yes Bank's case? मैंने उसका भी आंसर दिया. Yes Bank has undergone restructuring after 2020 crisis. तो 2020 में क्राइसिस के बाद Yes Bank का restructuring हुआ and RBI emphasizes strong governance and oversight to avoid any kind of past issues. That is the reason Yes Bank is in news. अब अगर मैं आर गांधी जी की बात करूं, he has served as RBI governor, deputy governor from 2014 to 2017. He has handled many important areas while working with RBI. He has a contribution in terms of currency management during demonetization. He has advocated digital payment, blockchain, cryptocurrency, and whatnot. Other key positions which has been holded by R. Gandhi sir. He has also served as he has served on deputation for 3 years. He has worked on the market regulation and investor protection while working with SEBI. He has also served as the director of Institute for Development and Research in the Banking Technology. So why I'm giving you this ample of information? This information is just given to justify the government step of reappointment. It is only and only for reading purpose. Question यहाँ से नहीं आएगा. अगला जो पॉइंट बनेगा क्वेश्चन का वो बनेगा येस बैंक के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में. येस बैंक हैज फेस्ड severe crisis in 2020 due to bad loans and governance failure. RBI and government initiate a reconstruction plan. Say SBI and other banks, they have infused equity in Yes Bank. RBI appointed leadership, took charge, and since then board oversight and strong governance remain critical. तो भैया Yes Bank में issues हुए. Yes Bank was on the verge to be declared as bankrupt or bank in a very tough situation. So in order to help Yes Bank during those days, many banks like SBI and other banks, they have infused their funds obviously against the equity, and RBI has appointed the leadership which has took the charge, and since then the governance of Yes Bank has become very critical task for RBI, because of which this news is important for you, जहां से question आने के chances हैं. Now let's try to answer a question. R. Gandhi, non-executive chairman. His reappointment was approved by Reserve Bank of India. True. His new tenure is going to be 2025 to 27. True. Non-executive chairperson is responsible for day-to-day operations. No. R. Gandhi was earlier appointed as a part-time chairperson of Yes Bank in September 2022. RBI approved or RBI approval for top-level bank appointment ensures adherence to the fit and proper criteria. So according to me, first, second, and fifth statement are correct. I don't know about the fourth. Let's suppose I don't know about the fourth, then I'll go with the flow. I'll go with the options available. So B option is absolutely correct. Now I'll add an information that he was appointed as a part-time chairman of Yes Bank in September 2022 after he has completed his operations or his services as deputy governor of RBI. Got it, guys? Moving on to the next news. The next news is related to Asian Development Bank. So Asian Development Bank has announced loan for the Assam Urban Sector Development Project. So जब इस टाइप का क्वेश्चन आता है, इस टाइप की न्यूज इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर योर phase 1 examination. Direct question will be asked from phase 1. So Asian Development Bank possesses its headquarter in Manila, Philippines, and give me the number of members of ADB in the comment section. India is one of the member of Asian Development Bank. It has approved $125 million loan for Assam Urban Sector Development Project. And under this development project, transformation of urban infrastructure will be done. Improvement in water supply will be done. It will strengthen the climate resilience and enhance the governance in the district. Coverage will be 6 district headquarters as well as the capital city of Assam, that is Guwahati. So these are the 6 districts which are going to be included along with Guwahati. Now this amount will be utilized for what purpose? This is the again extra data which I have given you just to read. अगर मैं आपको बताऊं, अगर आप इस image को search करने जाएंगे, this image will not be available on the Google because this image I have created for you from the PowerPoint skills of mine. तो उसमें अगर आप देख लीजिए, water supply is the target, governance is the target, gender inclusion is the target, and storm water management is the target. Along with this, if we talk about the expected impact, it will result in continuous metered water, reduced flooding, climate resilience, as well as better governance are the expected impacts of this $125 million of loan, which has been given by none other than Asian Development Bank. So Asian Development Bank possess how many members, guys? If you talk about the members of Asian Development Bank, it's not 20, it's not 21, Aniket. The count is 69. Please cross check it. According to me, it is 69. It was set up back in 1966. Manila, Philippines is the headquarter of this particular bank, and the largest shareholder in this bank is Japan. Like US is the highest voting right holder in World Bank as well as IMF. Is it clear, guys? So these are some of the points which you need to remember. So if I conclude, ADB, Assam Urban Sector Development Project, $125 million. These are some of the points which are very important, जो कि direct question पूछा जा सकता है. Targeted districts are 6 areas is related to water supply. Along with water supply, what are other areas are being targeted? One is urban infrastructure, improve water supply, strengthen climate resilience, as well as enhance governance. These are the target areas under this particular news. Let's try to decode the question. Asian Development Bank approved a loan of $125 million in August 2025. That is true. Project covers district headquarters as well as Guwahati. True. The project will be set up, or the project is going to set up 6 new water treatment plants with total capacity of 72 million. Total capacity of 72 million liters per day. That is true. One key feature is real-time monitoring system to reduce the non-revenue water loss to below 50%. True. Storm water management in Guwahati basin includes diversion channels, drainage improvement, as well as retention ponds. So in that particular case, which statement is correct and which statement is incorrect out of the all? Give me the answer. Okay, I'll give you the answer, guys. यहाँ तक तो ठीक था. Real time monitoring system to reduce non-revenue water losses to below 50%. No, this is below 20%. So in that context, fourth statement is wrong. The rest, all the statements are correct. So answer is going to be A option. Got it? Yeah. Here comes a very important news, and I would request you to buckle up, guys. ये important news है, इसको समझना भी important है, और यहाँ से जो question बनेगा उसे answer करना भी examination में important है. So SEBI has come up with n number of reviews and number of changes in the past few years. Keeping the same in mind, now SEBI has come up with the intraday position in index option. First of all, if I talk one by one, what is this option? So option is a derivative. What is a derivative? So derivative is a contract which derive its value from the underlying asset. From the underlying asset, which means, let's suppose I have signed a contract with you and I say that I will be purchasing Infosys shares from you after 2 months at a price of, let's say, 2000 rupees per share, and the number of shares are 10. So what is the value of this contract? So the value of this contract is underlying asset. What is the underlying asset? Infosys shares. How many Infosys shares? 10. What is the price of each share? 2000. So the value of this contract is 20,000. And when these type of contracts are signed, where in general physical settlement is not done, rather cash settlement is done. Cash settlement ka matlab at the completion of the contract, if the Infosys share price increases to 2100, rather than purchasing those Infosys shares, I would ask the seller कि भैया ये जो 100 रुपए per share बढ़ा है वो मेरा प्रॉफिट आप मुझे दे दीजिए और हमारी कैश सेटलमेंट हो जाएगी. एंड इफ इट फॉल्स डाउन टू 1900, देन अगेन आई विल बी पेइंग द सेम अमाउंट. सो दीज आर बेसिकली नोन एज डेरिवेटिव्स. In the derivatives, we have a term which we call it as option. ऑप्शन का मतलब क्या होता है सर? ऑप्शन का मतलब है अ टाइप ऑफ डेरिवेटिव वेयर यू गेट एन ऑप्शन, ईदर you want to buy the contract, you get an option, either you want to sell the contract, but there is no obligation. No obligation का मतलब आपके ऊपर कोई बाउंडेशन नहीं है कि आपको खरीदना ही पड़ेगा, आपके ऊपर कोई बाउंडेशन नहीं है कि आपको बेचना ही पड़ेगा, but it comes up with a right that you can have a right to buy, you can have a right to sell, you can have a right to buy or you can have a right to sell. We call it as call and put options. We call it as call and put option. अगला पॉइंट यहां पे आता है कि सर व्हाट इज इंडेक्स ऑप्शन? सर सी, इंडेक्स इज अ डेरिवेटिव which takes its value from an underlying asset, and if the underlying asset is an index, it is termed as index option. For example, BSE 30, we call it as Sensex. It is what? Sir, it is an index. Similarly, we have Nifty 50. What is it? So it is again an index. So these are the indexes, and if your option takes a value from the index, we call it as index option. For example, I signed a contract with you, BSE 30, that is Sensex. I am ready to buy 10 units of index at a price of 26,000 rupees. So this is what? So this is a contract which is taking up its value from the index. So these type of options are known as index option, which takes their value from the index. Clear हुआ यहां तक? अगला पॉइंट आता है इंट्राडे. इंट्राडे का मतलब क्या होता है सर? इंट्राडे position in index option basically means you have to clear your position. You have to clear your position का मतलब क्या हुआ कि सर today you have purchased an option in the morning, let's say at 10 a.m. So before the closing of the trading day, you have to clear your position. Either you are buying it or you are letting go the contract. आपकी मर्जी है. You have a right to buy or maybe you have a right to sell. Either you practice your right, and if you're not practicing your right, then you have to let it go. That has need to be cleared before the closing trading hours of the given day. That is basically known as intraday. Index option. Clear हुआ यहां तक point? Is this point clear? मैं आपको दोबारा बताने की कोशिश करता हूं. इंडेक्स पोजीशन बेसिकली मींस like Nifty, Bank Nifty, Fin Nifty. They have the types like we have call option, right to buy, or we have put option, that is right to sell. Intraday position basically means position opened as well as cleared. We call it as squared off same day. Of same day, which means in this case the settlement will always be done in the form of cash. Index cannot be delivered. इसका एक एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं so that you get the answers or you get the understanding in a better manner. One second. Please pay attention guys. Clear हो जाएगा, एक एग्जांपल से ही मामला बिल्कुल क्लियर हो जाएगा. So let's say we have a call option, that is the buying right you have, or we say that let's say you are coming up with a buying call and it's a bullish intraday bet. For example, you are buying Nifty 24,600 call option at the rate 120 rupees of premium. और आपका जो लॉट साइज है, लेट्स से द लॉट साइज इज 50. मेरे साथ बने रहना, बहुत बेसिक भाषा में समझा रहा हूं, क्लियर हो जाएगा. आज तक ना किसी ने समझाया ना कोई समझाएगा, और अगर आज नहीं समझा तो कभी समझ आएगा भी नहीं. तो यहां से जो प्रीमियम मुझे पे करना, दैट इज द लॉट साइज. तो मेरा लॉट साइज के ऊपर जो मेरा प्रीमियम बनेगा, वो मेरा प्रीमियम कितना बनेगा, दैट इज 50 into 120. इट कम्स आउट टू बी 6,000. It comes out to be what? So it comes out to be 6,000, और मेरा ये जो 6,000 है that is my maximum loss, है ना? That is my maximum loss. अब हुआ क्या? Over the period of time, उसी दिन ये जो प्रीमियम है, ये प्रीमियम 120 से बढ़कर हो गया 180 रुपए. अब अगर प्रीमियम 120 से बढ़कर 180 रुपए हो गया तो मेरा प्रॉफिट कितना है? सर 180 is the premium now. What was the premium at the time of my purchase? So that was 120. So per lot, what is my profit? 60. How many lots I have purchased? 50. So my profit is going to be 3,000, and I have to clear my position. I have to clear my position in that very day itself. Let's say we go in the other way. If I go with the put option, अगर मैं put option की तरफ जाता हूँ, तो put option के केस में I am selling Nifty at 24,400. It's a put option at the rate of 100 rupees. ठीक है? In this particular case, lot size is again 50. अगर lot size 50 है, so what is the profit maximum I can receive? Here was the maximum loss I can make. Here is the maximum profit I can make. So the maximum profit I can make is 5,000 rupees. ठीक है जी? अब हुआ क्या? Premium fall down कर गया. Premium has fallen down from 100 to 40, and if premium has fallen down from 100 to 40, I have purchased it at 100. Now I will be selling it at 40. तो what will be my benefit? आपने सेल करने की बात की थी 100 पे, लेकिन अब आप सेल कर रहे हैं 40 पे, तो उससे क्या हुआ? 60 रुपए आपको बच गए. 60 into 50, that is, इस केस में अगर मैं देखूं, what will be the value of benefit? That is going to be 3,000. So risk is unlimited if the market falls sharply, but in this case reward is predefined, and the reward can be maximum of 5,000 rupees. This is how the selling is done. So in case of intraday, we have option selling, that is either buying or selling. In this case we have high as well as low margins, and risk is need to be managed on the daily basis scenarios. Clear हो गई बात? समझ आया? जिसको समझ आया एक बार yes sir टाइप कर दो, otherwise I'll come up with one more example. So intraday trading क्या है? Intraday basically means positions are opened and closed on the same trading day, common among retail traders or option writers and whatnot. In this case, you have a directional bets, which means buy if the expecting index is going to rise and sell if the expected index is going to fall. Example, आपने खरीदा निफ्टी 24,500 पे और आज बुलिश है मार्केट, और मार्केट बढ़कर 24,500 से 24,600 हो गई, तो आपने खरीदा 500 में था, और आज आप जब उसे क्लोज डाउन करेंगे, उस क्लोजिंग डाउन पे टाइम पे प्राइस क्या हो गया? 24,500 से 24,600, तो आपको 100 रुपए का प्रॉफिट हो गया, है ना? दैट इज द पॉइंट कि अगर आप बाइंग ऑप्शन में हैं तो यू विल गो फॉर बाइंग इफ you are expecting a bullish scenario in the market. That is basically the scene which you need to remember. एक term मैं use करूंगा यहाँ पर, that is margin requirement. Selling index option, it requires span plus exposure margins. For intraday, brokers जो है they offer margin intraday square off, or they come up with the term cover order, bracket order with reduced margins. Square off means intraday options को you have to complete it off. Complete it off means either you decide I'm buying, either you decide I sell, or either you say I'm going away from the contract. That is generally done just before the closing of the trading hours between 3:15 to 3:25 p.m. This has been witnessed that this squaring off is generally done. So these are some of the points which you need to remember. I guess clear हो गया होगा कि how these things work. अगर आपको और डिटेल में भी कभी समझना होगा, कमेंट सेक्शन में लिखिएगा. मैं एक स्पेशल सेशन ले लूंगा जिसमें मैं आपको बता दूंगा कि ऑप्शंस कैसे काम करते हैं. इसीलिए बहुत क्लियरली कहा जाता है फ्यूचर एंड ऑप्शन मार्केट्स आर वेरी प्रोन टू रिस्क. इफ यू डोंट हैव बेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग, इफ यू डोंट हैव गुड अंडरस्टैंडिंग, यू शुड नॉट इन्वेस्ट योर हार्ड अर्न मनी, बिकॉज इस मार्केट में मेजर एंटिटीज, फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूट्स, दे मेक अ huge investments. They are the players, they are the setters, और उस मार्केट में individuals like you and me should avoid to invest, which may result in huge losses. अब सेबी ने इसमें क्या चेंजेस किए हैं जल्दी से वो देख लेते हैं. सेबी ने कहा क्या न्यू फ्रेमवर्क टू मॉनिटर इंट्राडे ट्रेडिंग पोजीशन इन इंडेक्स ऑप्शन। अब इंडेक्स ऑप्शन क्या है वो भी आपको पता है, इंट्राडे ट्रेडिंग ऑप्शन भी आपको पता है। दिस न्यू इनिशिएटिव विल एनहांस ट्रांसपेरेंसी एंड स्ट्रेंथन द रिस्क मैनेजमेंट इन द डेरिवेटिव मार्केट। Intraday monitoring norms will be implemented from 1st October 2025. Penalty provision, that means expiry day breaches, will be applicable from 6th of December 2025. ये अभी आपको 2 मिनट में क्लियर हो जाएगा। Why this framework derivative market have grown significantly in India? So these tough norms are need to be implemented. Systematic risk, so sudden spikes in the positions can destabilize markets. Transparency issues, earlier monitoring was primarily end of the day, not intraday. So that is the reason this initiative has been taken. तो SEBI का क्या objective है? SEBI has an objective of continuous intraday surveillance, prevent manipulation and excessive risk taking, aligned with the global market practices. Now, what are the provisions? First, intraday provision limit, which has been presented entity-wise. So earlier, the limit for an entity to invest or to involve in the index option was 1500 crore rupees. This is the net limit. When we use this word net limit, it basically means the net position. What is this net position? So we have two types of position. One is long position or long option, and the other one we have is short option. So long option minus short option gives you the net, gives you what? So it gives you the net position. Now यहाँ पे एक point आता है कि सर ये short और long में क्या difference क्या है? How you basically differentiate between them? How you are going to explain the difference between these terms? So in order to understand the terms between or the difference between long and short term, what should be a long option or short option? What should be the understanding? So the understanding over here is long option is basically rights bought, which we call it as where you have a right bought, where you are purchasing the option, either call option or put option. Short option means you are selling the option, either the call option or put option. That is the point. So if you are buying the options, you are in long position. If you're selling the option, you are in short position. Let's suppose you have purchased or you are buying options of worth 7,000 crores and you are selling the options of worth 3,000 crores, then what will be your net position? Your net position will be 4,000 crores. Earlier, this net position limit was 1,500 crores, but now it has enhanced from 1,500 crores to 5,000 crores, which means more volatility, more capacity for the entities to participate in this particular market has been introduced. Next is gross intraday position. Gross intraday position means your long option. Gross basically means your long option can be up to 10,000 crores, means you can sell the options. You can buy the option of value 10,000 crores. You can sell the option of value 10,000 crores. These are what? So these are basically termed as your gross options. Gross option का मतलब individually, long option and short option individually 10,000 करोड़ हो सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप net value पे जाओगे that should be 5,000 crores. So this is total long short positions. This means aligned with end of the day gross limit. It should align with the end of the day gross limit. So this limit is need to be fulfilled at a gross level. ठीक है, without netting. क्लियर हो गया? और ये अनचेंज है, इसमें कुछ चेंजेस नहीं किए गए. इट हैज बीन रिमेन द सेम. सो रिमेंबर दैट नेट एंड लॉन्ग में क्या डिफरेंस है, दैट हैज बीन क्लियरली मेंशन्ड. देन वी हैव रैंडम इंट्राडे स्नैपशॉट्स. Exchanges, stock exchanges are the authorities which are responsible to check that the entities are not breaching their limits. In that particular case, short exchange must conduct minimum 4 random checks per day. One mandatory snapshot should be between 2:45 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., which is a peak trading period. Position value determined using the index price at the snapshot time. Prevents, अच्छा, आपको जो position value निकालनी है, that will be on the basis of the index price at the time or for the given snapshot. It prevents traders from temporarily reducing positions before close to escape detection. What will be the penalty scenario? Breach of limits, scrutiny will be done by the stock exchanges. Traders must explain the trades. Exchanges may review the underlying cash market activity in the index. Expiry day bridges: when derivatives expire, penalties or additional surveillance deposits can be applied, and objective is basically to ensure no manipulative activity in the final settlement window. If I talk about the standard operating procedure, market infrastructure institutions, stock exchanges, clearing corporations, they must prepare a SOP for monitoring plus penalties, submit to SEBI within 15 days, and communicate clearly to the market participants before 1st of October 2025. और जैसे ही SOP आ जाएगा, then it will be very easy for me to explain कि ये सारी चीजें होंगी कैसे. अब अगर मैं इनके बेनिफिट्स देखूं, फॉर मार्केट पार्टिसिपेशन, must closely monitor intra-trade position. High frequency traders and proprietary desk face tighter compliance check, and expiry day trading requires caution. That means if there is completion of the day and you have not achieved your intraday limit, or your options value, index option value is not within the limit, then you may enjoy or you may witness penalty. Must upgrade surveillance system. That should be done by the market institutions, and ensure real-time position tracking. For a market as a whole, it will improve market discipline, it will reduce intraday speculation risk, and it will align India's derivative market practices with the global best practices. So this is the entire conclusion. जो मैंने आपको कहा पहले क्या था, अब क्या हुआ, क्या चेंजेस हुए, वो सारी बातें मैंने आपको बता दी हैं. ये इम्प्लीमेंटेशन 2 स्टेजेस में होगा. पहला इम्प्लीमेंटेशन तो ये है कि सर आपको नॉर्म्स फुलफिल करनी है एंड इम्प्लीमेंट करना फ्रॉम 1 अक्टूबर, और जो पेनल्टी प्रोविजन है जिसपे मैंने बहुत डिटेल में बात नहीं की, दैट विल बी इम्प्लीमेंटेड फ्रॉम 6 of December 2025. वन द SOP is set, we will be discussing about the penalties once again. ठीक. So I hope each and every point is clear to you. Let's try to understand इस टफ न्यूज से क्वेश्चन कैसा आएगा. क्वेश्चन बहुत ईजी आएगा. जितना मैंने बताया उसका अगर आपको 5% भी याद रह गया, you will be in a position to answer the question. The revised rules were introduced in September 2025. True. It will be effective from 1st October. True. Penalty provisions for expiry day breaches will be implemented from December 6. True. The gross intraday position limit entity has been reduced. No, it is still the same, 10,000 crores. The purpose of the framework is to enhance transparency and risk management in the derivative market. True. So answer is going to be A option. Only 4 statement is wrong. बाकी सारी की सारी statements क्या है? Absolutely correct है. I have one more question. The net intraday position limit has been raised from 1,500 to 5,000 crores per entity. True. Net intraday position is calculated on a future equivalent basis. True. Gross intraday limit still remains 10,000 crores. True. Net position is calculated by offering longs and shorts in index options. True. Intraday limits apply only to equity delivery trades and not derivatives. That is not correct. So answer is going to be A option. 5th के अलावा बाकी सारी की सारी ऑप्शंस आपकी क्या है? करेक्ट है, बिकॉज इट अप्लाइज ऑन ऑल दी इंडेक्स ऑप्शंस. सिंपल. मजा आया? मजा आया. इस न्यूज को मैं चाहता तो अभी आधा घंटा और पढ़ा सकता था, लेकिन उसका कोई पॉइंट नहीं है, क्योंकि जब मैं ज्यादा डिटेल में पढ़ाता हूँ आई हैव फेल्ट दैट स्टूडेंट्स दे गेट वेरी अनकंफर्टेबल और ये सोचने लगते हैं यार ये तो बहुत मुश्किल है, इतना मुश्किल फाइनेंस तो हम कर नहीं पाएंगे. तो व्हाट आई हैव डन इज नाउ आई एम ट्राइंग माय लेवल बेस्ट टू मेक द फाइनेंस प्रीटी इजी फॉर यू, बिकॉज एग्जामिनेशन इज राउंड द कॉर्नर. जो चीज़ें मैं पढ़ा रहा हूँ वो समझ आ जाए, दैट इज मोर देन सफिशिएंट. इट्स नॉट वर्दी कि हम इतनी डिटेल में जाके चीज़ों को पढ़ें, उतना ज़रूर पढ़ें अगर क्वेश्चन एग्जाम में आए तो हम आंसर कर पाए, एंड यू विल बी surely in a position to answer the question just going through with these number of slides itself. Moving on to the next. Ugly news, I would say majorly factual news है, data oriented news है. India's manufacturing PMI, that is Purchasing Managers Index. ये PMI ना, you must have heard. ये जो PMI है ये आपने बहुत बार पढ़ा होगा, बट I think you don't know. I think still you don't know. तो आज मैं कोशिश करूंगा आपको PMI भी समझा दूं क्या है. So on 1st September 2025, HSBC has released the HSBC India Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index report, which is compiled by S&P Global. As per the survey, India's manufacturing PMI has increased to 59.3 in August 2025 compared to 59.1 in July. This marks the highest reading since 2008, that is in last 17 years, reflecting strong growth momentum in the India's manufacturing sector. देखो सर, आप सीधा सीधा ग्रोथ कहो तो समझ आता है, लेकिन ये पीएमआई कम समझ आता है। पीएमआई आखिरकार है क्या? तो अगर मुझसे कोई कहे व्हाट इज पीएमआई, आई वुड से पीएमआई इज एन इकोनॉमिक इंडिकेटर which is derived from the monthly surveys of purchasing managers, that means the decision makers in the companies across the industries. Purpose is ये measure करना business activity कैसी चल रही है, what is the demand of companies, industries, as well as on what basis they are making their demand, whether they are expecting the economy to grow, whether they are expecting their sales to increase, whether they are manufacturing huge volume of goods in order to cope up with the high increasing demand in the near future. That is basically checked. So what are the different types? So we have manufacturing PMI, we have services PMI, even we have composite PMI, where weighted average of manufacturing and services PMI is calculated. Now the biggest question, so how PMI is calculated? PMI is based on surveys. Approximately 400 manufacturing firms in India are surveyed. First is new orders. So what are your orders in terms of in the domestic market, as well as what is your demand, output or production levels, what type of output or production you are claiming to achieve, what kind of employment scenarios you are offering, whether you are hiring more labor or not, suppliers delivery time, what are the time period for the supplier to deliver industries goods, इन्वेंट्रीज ऑफ परचेज की आप कितनी ज्यादा परचेज कर रहे हैं, 1 महीने के लिए, 6 महीने के लिए, 3 महीने के लिए. दीज आर सम ऑफ द फैक्टर्स विच आर टेकन इनटू कंसिडरेशन. अब समझना, अगर आपके पास न्यू ऑर्डर्स ज्यादा है, न्यू ऑर्डर्स इन द सेंस यू हैव न्यू ऑर्डर्स in from the Indian market, you have new orders from the rest of the world. Keeping those orders in mind, you will be increasing your production level, you will be hiring more labor, you will be asking your suppliers to deliver the raw material, you will be storing the raw material for future demand so that you can cope up with the future demands instantly, or you are expecting the prices of the raw material to increase, so you are purchasing huge raw material today. अब जैसे इंडिया में we are on set with the festive season, so obviously our domestic demand is going to increase. So in order to cope up with the domestic demands these days, the purchasing managers, they are purchasing in huge quantity, because of which this PMI has risen in the August 2025. अगर PMI level 50 है तो इसका मतलब no change, पहले जैसे ही है सब कुछ. अगर 50 से कम है तो it means इंडस्ट्री की एक्टिविटीज डिक्लाइन कर रही है. बट इट इज ग्रेटर देन 50, इट मींस वी आर डूइंग वेल. एंड इन इंडिया दिस हैज बीन रिकॉर्डेड एट अ वैल्यू ऑफ 59.3 इन अगस्त 2025, जो कि लास्ट मंथ 59.1 था. इस बार का डेटा क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट है? बिकॉज इट इज हाईएस्ट सिंस 2008, which is highest in last 17 years, which indicates rapid expansion in output, which indicates increasing demand, as well as it is indicating increasing production in the economy. So who has released this data? So this data is compiled by S&P Global and it is published in India by HSBC. Note, in some countries PMI is compiled by national statistical agencies, but in India it is a survey based and it is privately compiled. ये point आपको याद रखना है. Next point if you want to remember is significance क्या है PMI का? Sir, it's a real time indicator unlike GDP. अब GDP जो है या तो वो क्वार्टरली रिलीज होगी या फिर ईयरली रिलीज होगी, तो इट्स नॉट अ रियल इंडिकेटर. लेकिन पीएमआई तो बहुत रियल इंडिकेटर है कि जुलाई में मैनेजर्स ने ये परचेज किया था, दैट मींस दे आर एक्सपेक्टिंग इंक्रीज इन डिमांड इन अगस्त. अब ये अगस्त में और ज्यादा परचेज कर रहे हैं, दैट मींस दे आर एक्सपेक्टिंग मोर डिमांड इन सितंबर. अब डिमांड सितंबर में और ज्यादा परचेज किया तो डिमांड अक्टूबर में और बढ़ेगी. जब डिमांड बढ़ रही है तो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बढ़ेगी, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बढ़ेगी तो आउटपुट बढ़ेगी, आउटपुट बढ़ेगी तो आपकी इकोनॉमी का एक्सपेंशन होगा. एंड दैट विल बी वेरी इजीली रिफ्लेक्टेड विद द हेल्प ऑफ दीज सर्वेज. So PMI is also used by RBI. So RBI tracks PMI to assess inflationary pressure and demand trends. It helps in monetary policy decisions. Investor confidence, higher PMI attracts foreign investors, signals robust growth in the economy. PMI trends also hint कि फ्यूचर में हायरिंग क्या होगी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर में. अगर PMI ज्यादा है तो लेबर भी ज्यादा चाहिए होगी इन ऑर्डर टू अचीव द सेट टारगेट्स. आज की अगर मैं बात करूं तो इंडिया को अगर मैं ग्लोबल लेवल पे कंपेयर करूं, so India is doing pretty well on the global level. Please pay attention. India's GDP for the first quarter grew at 7.5%, which is driven by manufacturing and service sector. Industrial production in July was 6.8% year-on-year growth, which is again a good number. On the other side, if I talk about the global PMI trends for the month of April, May, June, July, अगर आप ध्यान से देखें तो ये जो लाइन है ना, ये लाइन है 50 वाली, ये जो लाइन है डैश्ड लाइन जो आपको शायद दिख रही होगी. लेट मी सी इफ आई कैन ड्रॉ अ लाइन. नहीं, यहाँ पे ऑप्शन नहीं है, बट इफ यू कैन सी दिस वन, ये 50 वाली लाइन है. और अगर आप 50 वाली लाइन के ऊपर की बात करें तो इंडिया is always above 50, which shows a promising economy for India. On the other side, if you talk about China, China is almost touching or just crossing the 50 mark. US is also, I would say, almost touching or below the 50 mark. Eurozone की बात करें, it is always and always remained below the 50 mark, which means the manufacturing industry is not doing pretty well, or PMI trends says that the demand in the Eurozone is not pretty high, because of which the managers, they are not purchasing high, because of which their PMI levels are contracting, which shows a low growth in these areas, not only today but in the future as well. So India is doing pretty well, which shows India is outperforming the major economies in the manufacturing activities, which shows a good, or which is a good sign for the economy like India. Got it, guys? Let's try to solve a question on the same. Please pay attention. So the question says PMI is released by Reserve Bank of India on monthly basis. No, sir, it is not released by RBI. That is wrong. A PMI score above 50 indicates expansion in the manufacturing activities. True. India's manufacturing PMI is 17 years low since 2008, 59.3. True. PMI survey in India is compiled by S&P Global, released by HSBC. True. PMI captures parameters such as new orders, outputs, employment, supplier, delivery times and inventories. That is also true. So I'll go with B option. 2, 3, 4, 5 are correct, but the first option is wrong. Anuj, Niharika, Anshul, you have given the correct answer. Beautiful. Moving on to the next news of the day. The next news talks about RBI imposes 44.70 lakh monetary penalty on Bandhan Bank. इसमें दो ही चीजें याद करनी है. पहली चीज, Bandhan Bank penalty value 44.70 lakh. This is first thing which you need to remember. Second, and the most important thing for RBI examination, is why the penalty has been charged. So the penalty has been charged for two reasons. First reason is remuneration related issues, and the second reason is manual intervention or audit trial lapses. What is it? So bank paid remuneration to certain employees in the form of commission. बैंक ने अपने कुछ एम्प्लॉइज को रेम्यूनरेशन दिया इन द फॉर्म ऑफ कमीशन. कमीशन बेस्ड रेम्यूनरेशन violates RBI guidelines on employee compensation, particularly norms designed to prevent incentivization that could lead to conflict of interest or risky banking practices. तो भैया आपने अपने एम्प्लॉइज को, आप हाँ एजेंट्स को दे रहे हैं, which you call as commission agents, that is true. आप अपने एम्प्लॉय को भी कमीशन दे रहे हैं या इंसेंटिव्स दे रहे हैं ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ or in the form of commission you are paying to your certain employees, that is not accepted as per RBI. तो अगर आपने ऐसा स्टेप किया है तो बंधन बैंक के ऊपर पेनल्टी RBI ने चार्ज की है. अगला, manual intervention. Bank performed manual interventions at the back end of certain accounts. Audit trails or logs of excess were not properly recorded. Missing user specific details. RBI mandated that bank maintain proper audit trails for digital transactions and account changes. If not done, in that particular case also Bandhan Bank has been channelized or identified by RBI, or in दोनों reasons. पहला, remuneration related issue, which means certain employees, they have received remuneration in the form of commission. Second is manual intervention done or audit trial has been lapsed by Bandhan Bank, because of which this penalty has been charged. तो ये बस एक स्लाइड है which is important for you. यहां से क्वेश्चन आएगा और आंसर कर देना, इससे ज्यादा कुछ पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. क्वेश्चन पढ़ के देखते हैं. Penalty was 44.70 lakhs imposed for non-compliance with RBI guidelines. True. Penalty affects the validity of all customer transactions at the bank. Validity of all customer transactions at the bank. ये point समझ आ रहा है? What this point is trying to say? Try to identify this point. क्या समझ आता है इसको पढ़कर? इसको पढ़कर ये समझ आता है कि सर अगर आपने पेनल्टी चार्ज की उससे कस्टमर के ऊपर कोई इंपैक्ट आएगा नहीं. द लीगल बेसिस फॉर पेनल्टी is under section 10 of Banking Regulation Act 1949. True, the penalty was imposed due to risky lending practices. No, penalty was charged because of two reasons. First is payment of commission to employees, remuneration violation, and second is manual intervention in accounts without proper audit trails or logs. That is the second reason. Reference date of inspection considered was 31st March 2024. Yes sir, ये 31st March 2024 के डेटा के ऊपर जब आरबीआई ने चेक किया तो ये आरबीआई ने कंक्लूड किया. सो आंसर इज ए सी ई आर द करेक्ट आंसर्स. मूविंग ऑन टू द लास्ट न्यूज ऑफ द डे. अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज, वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव, एंड दिस डेटा कैन हेल्प यू इन राइटिंग अ गुड डिस्क्रिप्टिव आंसर. सो व्हाट इज दिस डेटा ऑल अबाउट? मैं मार्क कर दूंगा जो डेटा इसमें से याद करना है. सारा डेटा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. सो बी विद मी टिल द एंड ऑफ दिस वीडियो. National Statistical Office operating under Ministry of Stats and Program Implementation has released the data for the first quarter of financial year 2025-26 in August 2025. Purpose is to provide estimates of GDP, real as well as nominal, sectoral contribution and expenditure components. India's real GDP growth for the first quarter is 7.8%, a 5-quarter high, higher than 6.5% in the first quarter of 2024-25. RBI's projection for the entire financial year is 6.5%. Very important data which you need to remember. Reinforces India's position as world's fastest growing large economy despite global challenges. जिसमें US ने tariff भी लगाया, still India is promising to be the fastest growing economy in the world, fastest growing large economy in the world. अब इस पे क्या क्या डेटा आपको याद रखना है. I hope you all know what is real GDP. Real GDP means when we calculate the GDP on the basis of prices of the base year, and here the prices or the base year is 2011-12. मतलब आपने 2011-12 में आप आज की कमोडिटी, मान लो ये मेरे हाथ में एक पेन जो है जिससे मैं लिख रहा हूं, इसका प्राइस 2011-12 में क्या था या क्या हो सकता था अगर ये प्रोडक्ट उस समय मैन्युफैक्चर किया जाता. तो उस प्राइस के आधार पर यू हैव कैलकुलेटेड द जीडीपी फॉर द करंट timelines. So we call it as real GDP, which ignores the factor of inflation. That says that India's Q1 GDP was 47.89 lakh crores, which has shown a growth of 7.8%. उसके बाद अगर हम नॉमिनल की बात करें, if you include the inflation, that means you calculate the GDP on current price. ये पेन आज 5,000 का है. I'm talking about this stylus. एंड मे बी 2011-12 में अगर ये मैन्युफैक्चर हुआ होता तो ये 1000 का होता. तो जब मैंने 1000 पे कैलकुलेट की जीडीपी तो वैल्यू आई 47 लाख करोड़. अब मैं 5000 पे कर रहा हूं तो वैल्यू ऑफ द जीडीपी आई ऑलमोस्ट डबल, दैट इज 86 लाख करोड़ रुपीस. तो वो डबल होगा बिकॉज ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन. सो इन्फ्लेशन का इंपैक्ट कहता है इन कंपैरिजन टू द प्रीवियस ईयर GDP has increased by 8.8%. When we talk about gross value addition, guys, gross value addition basically means rather than adding the final value of goods and services, you add the value addition at every step. For example, farmer ने wheat produce किया, एक example ले रहा हूं, farmer ने seed से wheat produce किया, seed free में मिला, wheat 5 रुपए का है, तो वैल्यू एडिशन कितने की फार्मर ने 5 की. उसी वीट को फ्लोर मिल ने खरीदा 5 रुपए में और उस 5 रुपए की वीट को उन्होंने पीस कर क्या बना दिया, आटा बना दिया. वी कॉल इट एज फ्लोर. सो दैट फ्लोर इज नाउ अवेलेबल इन द दिस फ्लोर इज नाउ सोल्ड आउट बाय द फ्लोर मिल फॉर 15 रुपीज. ये 15 रुपीज का फ्लोर हैज बीन परचेज बाय बेकर. बेकर हैज कन्वर्टेड दिस फ्लोर ऑफ 15 रुपीज into bread of worth 30 rupees. So he is selling the bread at 30 rupees. He has sold this bread for 30 rupees to the cake maker. He has converted this bread of 30 into cake of value 50 rupees. तो अगर आप देखें हर step पे farmer has done a value addition of 5 rupees. Flour mill has done a value addition of 10 rupees. 15 से 15 का प्रोडक्ट बनाया, इनपुट कितने की थी 5 की, आउटपुट माइनस इनपुट 10, हेयर आउटपुट इज 30, इनपुट इज 15, सो यहां भी कितने की वैल्यू एडिशन 15 की, केक मेकर ने 30 की ब्रेड खरीदी, 50 का केक बना दिया, तो वैल्यू एडिशन कितने की 20 की। तो जब आप इन सबको ऐड करोगे you will get a value of 50 rupees. So this is GVA. And on the other side, if you talk about GDP, GDP is the value of final goods and services consumed. So what is the value of final good? So the final good is cake. So in that particular case, we do not include the intermediaries. तो उस हिसाब से भी value 50 ही आएगी. So GDP at factor cost, which means the price of the goods which is received by the seller, because this 50 rupees will be received by the cake maker, but the buyer like you and me, we won't be paying 50, we will be paying 50 plus taxes on it, let's say GST, अब तो कम हो गया, मान लो 12% हो गया, तो 50 पे 12% GST लगा तो कितना हो गया 6 रुपए GST, तो ये 56 हो गया। तो सेलर ने जो प्राइस दिया, दिस इज मार्केट प्राइस ऑफ द गुड्स, और जो प्राइस सेलर को मिला दैट इज फैक्टर कॉस्ट। तो फैक्टर कॉस्ट पे जब आप जीडीपी कैलकुलेट करते हैं, यू कॉल इट एज जीडीपी एट फैक्टर कॉस्ट, और इवन यू कैन कॉल इट एज जीवीए, बट जीडीपी एट मार्केट प्राइस is the price which is actually paid by the buyer and we call it as GDP. तो जब सिर्फ GDP लिखा हो तो समझ लेना this is GDP at market price, जब GVA लिखा हो this is GDP at factor cost, where you include or you calculate the GDP on the value of price of goods and services received by the seller, not paid by the buyer. समझ आ गई बात? मजा आया या दोबारा बता दूं? अरे समझ आया या दोबारा बता दूं? जग सुना सुना तो नहीं है। I hope things are clear, guys. Enjoyed the difference and understanding GVA is value addition done at every step of manufacturing. Add them, that gives you GVA. Or on the other side, if you don't want to do this, then GDP at factor cost, GDP at factor cost and GDP at market price. So GDP at factor cost is GVA. आ गया समझ? बढ़िया, ठीक है जी। Now let's move on to the pointers कि इसमें से आपको याद क्या रखना है। I'll just remove my video is not important. इसमें आपको जो जो चीज़ें याद रखनी है, I'll just mark it for you. This point is important, this one, everything important, this is important, this is important, this is important and this is important. ठीक है जी, ये values बीच वाली you can ignore, they are not important. Next, if I talk about the primary sector, strong recovery with 3.7% growth due to favorable monsoon. So यहाँ पे बस आपको ये की चीज़ याद रखनी है, वो चीज़ ये याद रखनी है कि अगर आप बात कर रहे हैं एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर की 3.7% ग्रोथ है, माइनिंग की कॉन्ट्रैक्शन है 3.1%, रिमेंबर इट, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में ग्रोथ इज 7.7%, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी 0.5%, कंस्ट्रक्शन 7.6%। ये वैल्यूज आपको ध्यान में रखनी है। अगर याद कर पाओ बढ़िया, नहीं याद कर पाओ तो भी चलेगा, बट ये जो वैल्यूज है दीज आर इंपॉर्टेंट, ठीक है जी। उसके अलावा अगर हम बात करें टर्शरी सेक्टर में, तो टर्शरी सेक्टर का ओवरऑल ग्रोथ 9.3%, वेरी 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 इंपॉर्टेंट। रेस्ट ऑफ द सेक्टर्स ग्रोथ यू कैन गिव अ क्विक रीड इफ यू कैन रिमेंबर। Last point is very important, expenditure component. Why expenditure component is important? Because we calculate GDP in India on the basis of expenditure method, where we calculate the GDP on market price, which is basically the consumption done plus investment or savings which are done. Along with that we include the government expenditure, है ना? तो ये consumption expenditure public का, ये investment expenditure या सेविंग्स जो एंड ऑफ द डे इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रहा है, देन गवर्नमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर प्लस एक्सपोर्ट्स माइनस इंपोर्ट्स। सो दिस इज हाउ वी कैलकुलेट द जीडीपी विद द हेल्प ऑफ एक्सपेंडिचर मेथड। तो उस केस में अगर हम गवर्नमेंट का फाइनल कंजम्पशन एक्सपेंडिचर देखें, दैट हैज ग्रोन बाय 7.4%, ग्रॉस फिक्स्ड कैपिटल फॉर्मेशन 7.8%, प्राइवेट फाइनल कंजम्पशन एक्सपेंडिचर हैज ग्रोन बाय 7%। ये पॉइंट्स इंपॉर्टेंट है, आई हैव मार्क्ड इट, रिमेंबर दैम, ठीक है जी। उसी डेटा के बेसिस पे आई हैव कंस्ट्रक्टेड दिस क्वेश्चन फॉर यू, लेट्स सी हु ऑल कैन आंसर। रियल जीडीपी फॉर Q1 is 7.8% growth, true. Nominal GDP 8.8% growth, true. Real GDP growth in is lower than the RBI projection. No sir, RBI का projection है 6.5%, so this statement is wrong. Q1 financial year 2025-26 GDP estimate shows India as the fastest growing large economy globally. True. Real GVA for Q1 financial year 2025-26 was estimated as 44.64 lakh crore, registering a growth of 7.6%. Honestly, मुझे ये point याद नहीं है, but I'll go with the flow. I'm expecting that it is correct. So let's check it out. मैं भी आपकी की तरह हूँ, मैंने भी एक ही बार 2 बार ये न्यूज़ पढ़ी है, तो आंसर होना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से ABD ही. दैट इज एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट. ठीक है जी, मज़ा आया, कुछ नया सीखने को मिला. आज का सेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, संडे है. इस सेशन के बाद डू नॉट लीव योर फोन्स राइट अवे, डू नॉट लीव योर लैपटॉप्स राइट अवे. आफ्टर दिस सेशन डाउनलोड द PDF राइट अवे. आई विल बी शेयरिंग इट, और उस PDF को एटलीस्ट 2 बार पढ़ लेना, इंपॉर्टेंट डेटा मार्क कर लेना, and then attempt the homework questions and then leave your study tables. Otherwise it will be very difficult to recall this data. It will be very difficult for you to recall this data for upcoming examinations. ठीक है जी? Ready for the homework questions? Say yes or no. Are you guys ready for the homework questions? Say yes or no. Shall I show you the homework questions? You will be taking the screenshots. Give me a big yes. Sir, if the base year is changed, if the base year will change, then there will be a decline in GDP rate. अगर base year change होता तो GDP का growth rate जो है वो decline होगा. अगर मैं यहाँ पे कहूँ कि एक product है, उसका प्राइस है, वैसे नहीं होना चाहिए, मैं आपको कैलकुलेट करके दिखा रहा हूँ, मैं तो समझ गया हूँ इसका आंसर, आपको दिखा रहा हूँ, देखना ज़रा. मान लो आपकी कंट्री में एक ही प्रोडक्ट है ना, हम सारे प्रोडक्ट्स की बात ही नहीं करते. यू हैव ओनली वन प्रोडक्ट इन द कंट्री, एक्स. ठीक है, एक्स इज द प्रोडक्ट, उसका बेस ईयर प्राइस है 100 एंड टुडे 10 यूनिट्स हैव बीन मैन्युफैक्चर्ड. रियल में GDP हो गई 100. नेक्स्ट ईयर 11 यूनिट्स आर मैन्युफैक्चर्ड, GDP हो गई 1100. इंक्रीज इज 10%. ठीक है जी, इंक्रीज इज व्हाट? इंक्रीज इज 10%. ध्यान से देखना, आपने क्वेश्चन अच्छा पूछा है. अब इस केस में अगर मैं कहूँ कि ये जो x का प्राइस है जो कि 100 है, वो चेंज हो गया बिकॉज यू हैव चेंज द बेस ईयर, इट हैज चेंज टू 150. 10 into 150 1500, 11 into 150 that will be कितना होगा 165, 1650. तो अगर आप चेंज कैलकुलेट करेंगे तो चेंज क्या है सर? चेंज इज 150 रुपीज अगेंस्ट द बेस इज 1500. तो वहां पर फिर से आपका जो ग्रोथ आएगा दैट विल बी 10% ओनली. समझ आया? Yes Divya, all the monthly and weekly PDFs are available on my in the courses, you can download from there. हाँ जी निहारिका, क्लियर हुआ? ठीक है, स्क्रीनशॉट ले लो गाइस. पता है चेंज क्या होगा? आपको पता है चेंज क्या होगा? जीडीपी वैल्यू चेंज हो जाएगी. जीडीपी वैल्यू चेंज होने का मतलब जो आपने रियल जीडीपी कैलकुलेट की है जो कि 1000 है, वो बढ़कर हो गई 1500. ये चेंज होगा. तो आज के फाइनेंशियल ईयर में जो आपकी रियल जीडीपी 1000 है, अगर आपने बेस ईयर चेंज कर दिया तो आपकी रियल जीडीपी की वैल्यू इंक्रीज हो जाएगी. दैट इज अ पॉइंट, क्योंकि प्राइस चेंज हो गया ना बेस ईयर में, कांस्टेंट प्राइस चेंज हो गया, वो बात है. आई होप यू आर गेटिंग माय पॉइंट निहारिका. तो ग्रोथ में चेंज नहीं होगा, एक्चुअल वैल्यूज में चेंज होगा. यस, सो ओके, टेक द स्क्रीनशॉट. मूविंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. इसका भी स्क्रीनशॉट ले लीजिए. डन. दिस इज द सेकेंड क्वेश्चन. Take the screenshot. This is the third question. Take the screenshot. This is the fourth question. Take the screenshot. This is the fifth question. Take the screenshot. This is the last question. Done, guys. You can download the PDF from the given Telegram channel and do share your answers for all the 6 questions in the comment section below. Thank you so much. We'll catch you all soon. One thing, very important announcement. Aaj technically I was supposed to take a session on annual statement of RBI, but it won't be possible today because of this session which has come up. So in maybe the next Sunday or maybe within the week, in this week itself, I will be coming up with my next session. So don't worry. Is it fine, guys? So thank you so much for joining. We'll be catching you all in the upcoming sessions to go. Good luck. Bye-bye. God bless you all.